Finally this hour, one of the greatest actors of our time is putting the shoe on the other foot, so to speak. Ian McKellen has spent decades on screen and on stage, achieving worldwide fame with his roles in everything from Shakespearean classics to epic fantasies. Now he's turning the tables with his new film where he gets to play a theater critic. This week we chatted about that movie and whether he also might return to one of his most iconic roles. Ian McKellen, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very nice to be with you.
Let's start by talking about your new film. What was it like to play the role of the critic? I mean, it seems like you really embraced the part.
Well, they said the devil has the best tunes, and Jimmy Erskine is a very powerful critic of theatre set in the 1930s when critics had enormous power in a way that they don't today, because everyone's a critic, isn't it? Aren't they, on the internet and so on? But he has some wonderful lines to say, but unfortunately it goes off the rails a bit, and the story develops into something much nastier than it starts out as, I think. Well, great fun to play. Wonderful.
It sounds like a role that you really relished. I mean, of course, you're known for roles like Gandalf the Grey and Lord of the Rings. You're known for X-Men. You're also, though, a highly acclaimed stage actor. Did you feel like you had flipped the tables, that you suddenly were on the other side after receiving the words of critics for so long? Was there any,
well,
perhaps?
A little bit. You know, actors are very used to criticism before the show actually opens or the film is made, because the director is there giving notes, giving advice, giving warnings, giving orders, criticism of all sorts. So something written in the newspaper isn't too frightening after the period of rehearsal. But critics have been very kind to me over the years, probably too kind. So this wasn't an attempt to take revenge or anything like that.
Was there anyone you sort of modeled your performance after, any particular critic, or perhaps a combination of some?
I'm not going to tell you.
We'll have to figure it out.
I know who I'm playing, but I'm not going to tell you.
You mentioned, I mean, this is a dark and complex role, which makes it fun. You've played villains in the past, but there was something, I guess, calculating about the character that gave it a lot of depth. Can you talk more about that?
Well, I had a personal connection with Jimmy Erskine because, like me, he's gay. But he's gay in the 1930s, when in this country and in yours, it wasn't a safe thing to be. You didn't talk about it in case you were charged with something against the law and sent to prison. I had friends who went to prison because they'd made love. I mean, it's dreadful to think about it now. But so to slip back into that world and imagine what it would have been like for me made it personal. So, although it's a strong melodramatic story, it's utterly believable, or I felt it was.
Speaking of characters, I know you've said that Gandalf from Lord of the Rings was your Casablanca. Can you talk more about what you meant by that?
Well, Casablanca is a lot of people's very favorite films that they like to watch regularly, or perhaps once a year, in some sort of ceremony almost. And I know Lord of the Rings is a classic, and kids come up to me who not even dreamt of when we made the film 25 years ago. And yet it's alive to them and part of their lives. And I feel very lucky to have been part of what's now a classic. And yes, it's Gandalf's very much alive for me.
Would you be open to returning to the role? I read that once you said you would be, but they better be quick.
Well, yes, before my knees give way or my brain. No, it'd be wonderful to go back to New Zealand, which is a part of the world I fell in love with, and all the very talented people working for Peter Jackson down there. And if it happens, I'm told it may, well, I'm ready and waiting, yes.
Can't beat a trip to New Zealand. Finally, I want to ask you, you're 85 years old, you're starring in this film, The Critic. You have another movie out later this year. You just wrapped up Player Kings, a stage play in London. You show no signs of slowing down. What is it that drives you and keeps you going right now?
Habit. The fact that I enjoy my work enormously. For me, it's a hobby and a passion. And without it, I don't quite know what I'd do with myself. Perhaps see a few more friends than I can always do at the moment. But no, I'll stop when I have to. But if I don't have to, I'm very happy to carry on if people will have me. Unfortunately, there are always old parts somewhere in a movie or a play that I could have a go at.
Is there still a dream role you'd love to tackle at this point?
No, there isn't. I've never had a bucket list of parts I wanted to play, but yeah, maybe a new work, a new play. Mind you, every film you make is a new one because, but plays you often are revivals of old plays, Shakespeare and everybody else. But I think yes, one new play that was an absolute sensation, then I could die happy. Yeah. I am happy, so I take what comes.
We can tell. Clearly, you still love working, and we love watching you. Ian McKellen, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.